Hey, you two, it's your boy Domination on my back again. Again, all the place, 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 go, guys, all the place, all the place, go. Yeah, it's right back in basic. Chuck of the deuce is how we do. Takes a baby man $1 back. You know what it is, know what it is, know what it is, know what it is, know what it is. Real man rise up, fake man rise down. Real women rise up, fake women rise down. Brought to our preacher, preach on. And today's topic we're going to talk about is, and this show right here, I want to talk about human behavior. We all say things that we shouldn't have been said, but been said what we could take back and what's placed and take back and place not taken back. If you don't know, I'm talking about race relation. I said this, and I made a video talk about racism because at the Trayvon Martin situation going on, I don't even want to watch because I already know what that event is going to be, and I know. Don't ask me, I just know. I hope I'm wrong, but then I know if it don't happen, thank God things ain't taking place. It happen. It does, man. It's be a whole lot of trouble in this country, whole lot, and that's why this trial is taking so long because they don't want that riot is about to go down, and there's something going down. I'm telling you right now over there in Florida. If they don't believe me, that's fine, but I just know. But I'm going to talk about this. We got to talk about race relation. What's the definition of racism? Racism is a definition of economic power, economic resource, and access to wealth. That's what racism is. White people and black, Latinos, Asian, Middle East, and everybody, they ain't come in this country for nothing. They came from this country to access the wealth. That's what this United States of America is all about. That's what it's all about, the access of resource, certain resource of conquered land, and access of wealth, empowerment. That's what racism is. It doesn't matter if it's a group. It's a certain groups that rule the other group. Compete. That's what it's about. People use racial slur, nigger, honky, spick, oriental, they use even they use gays, fag and queer, or the carbon muncher. That's called lesbo or lesbo bitch. They say things like that. They call terrorists 10 dead Indians. They call things like that a red Indian skin. It's the racial slurs with the Native Americans. We have to talk about racism because I'm going to tell you right now, because we don't talk about it, we're not being honest to ourselves. Why is it that they teach these kids to be there and they've been so conditioned to think they're a better group of other people, and that's wrong. You be better you be better for yourself. I had an incident with my neighbor up there with all this stuff going on. I don't care what it is. He's been conditioned to think that he's better than anybody. No, he ain't better. And I ain't better. Nobody's ain't better. Everybody's better for themselves. But that says more about him than anybody. Some people got a lot of hate in them. Some folks grow up like that. They want that attention. They never have to see the growing up from their families or whatever. It starts from the household. If it's not from the father, it be from the parent or somebody. That's on them for responsibility. I always respect everybody. I respect whites. I respect Asians, Latinos, Native Americans, every other people. But what I respect the most is my people, African American community or black community or colored people, whatever we call ourselves. We have to be more honest when we talk about racism. Nobody wants to talk about racism. Why? Because it's an uncomfortable subject. Because nobody wants to be called a racist. People don't even know the term racist means, or prejudice. Prejudice when you prejudice other people doing things what another group do. And you know, I'll give you an example. They always say that about African American community, my people. They always say that black men got more kids than anybody. That is not true. Anybody who thinks like that, you're an idiot if you think something like that. You're a fool. You bought everything with that idiot TV box television. You say, stop believing everything the television. And that goes to black women too. They bought that bullshit. They bought that belief. They trying to say black women got more kids than anybody. That's a damn lie. How do black women got more kids than anybody unless they got a man or a boyfriend or a husband or somebody? They never talk about it. Don't get me wrong. There are a group of women have babies, kids by different men. There are a group of men having babies by different women. They are out there. They are. I hate to say it, they is. But by trying to pin on another group, what about cheat by the dozen? You don't think there's white men and white women have babies by a group of people? But if they did, they never put it out there. And they damn sure won't put the Asians or Latinos or anybody else. They even say about Mexican women got more kids than the more black woman than a white woman. But by the same man, not even a different man, but there's probably Mexican women have same man or a different man. How we know there's a Latino woman have babies by a different man? And it could same thing Middle East and stuff like that. My point is this. We have to talk about racism because if we don't talk about it, we will never overcome as better as an option of a people that we are now. All this racial slurs, this racial term and ethnic group, it do need to stop because that brings the ignorance out of low self envious and low self worth. Yeah, there are people out there going to be evil. I even got throw eggs by my damn neighbor, and not only that somebody throw some in the damn porch, and they and I asked him, confronted him about it. He sit there and say a bunch of groups of kids. Any bunch of groups of kids throwing no damn eggs. A white person throws some eggs. Trust me, even a damn bread, certain of bread, even in that couple of fruit or pino or something like that. I can't remember what it is. It was like dark green color. And I was mad about that. I want to really whoop that guy ass because it shows me, but that's what he wants. That tension because he can use his excuse to call the police. I see a black man assault me. White people think like that because they've been conditioned, but they don't realize they've been hurt by their own sleep people as well. And not only that, they've been enslaving just as much as Native Americans, even blacks. They won't tell you that though. Asians and Latinos, Native Americans, the whole nine. There was white slavery. I always thought that my people were the only one been enslaved. No, it was whites been enslaved, even though they enslaved Native Americans and black and African Americans. African Americans been enslaved off to even by Africans. Yes, they did. There was blacks everywhere before blacks came out here and slaves. They never talk about it. Then you got European immigrants came out here in this country, and so is Native Americans. Native Americans conquered this land, even the whites. No one knows who the first original people are. I always thought it was whites, but it couldn't be. Then again, you never know. First they said it was Native Americans. That couldn't be. Then they said it was blacks. Blacks is like the third obstacle of generation of race. How the hell we the original people? We could have got everything going, and we separated by different each other groups. We don't get along. Just like whites been separated by each group. Asian been separated by each group. Native Americans been separated by each group. Every other ethnic separated by each groups. So if you don't know what the term racism is, you better look in your extra library dictionary and see what it is. What the term racism. This is what racism is all about. That's what it's about. That's why people are being the way they are. That's why that Trayvon Martin incident went down. That's why that Rodney King verdict was about to down in 1992. Ku Klux Klan been conditioned, but where the Ku Klux Klan at when they care about their own community? They basically say, fuck you. They don't care. They hate any other group. They even hate Jewish. Where the Black Panthers? Now, don't get me wrong. Black Panthers did help out. But what Black Panthers said, they trying to blame another group that all whites are devils and this and that. That's true. Some whites are devils, some are not. Some whites can be angels and blessing that they can be. They mind their own business, just like there's our people can be God-fearing, loving people, and some of our people can be not the most loving people. We could be devil envy people, but sometimes that goes to anybody. We never talk about black devils. We always talk about every devil's are called white devils and black angels. There's black angels and black devils. There's white angels and white devils. There's good and bad in everybody. That's what I try to say about that. But we got to talk about why there's so much racism is going on and what's been played. Because they don't want people of other race or group come together. They don't want that. Now it's about being other group. they've been conditioned. So I can't get mad at them. They've been conditioned to think like that. The only person, certain a person that look out for yourself, and certain other people, every group of from other people, from your own and from your family and loved ones and friends. Because when it comes to race, man, that's all the term it is. It's just another group of people ruled by other group of people. That's all it is. And I'm going to show you a video. Ever since that Paula D incident went down, for all the Southerners, whites, rebel rednecks come in and said something, and Bacadori hillbillies, they started what the Ku Klux Klan. And that's what the based on white trash was about. Because they looking down with problem word by their own, because they ain't looking to reinforce of what happened to white community. They don't even give a fuck about poor white people. They don't even give a fuck about poor middle. I mean, they will give a fuck about middle class whites. Same thing. You got blacks don't give a damn about poor blacks and middle class. I mean, you got middle class blacks. It's the upper class blacks. There's rich and poor and any people of color. But I got a video that show you about this huge behavior. They try to make the equivalent of the word, the N word, and make it the effect of the word cracker is. How many people use that term cracker? I don't even use it. I'm not going to play that race of base of games to people, and not from my own and not from whites, because I know what they're trying to do. But I expect, because once you act to it, they're going to see how much of a prejudice you have in race. I don't have no racist prejudice in me. The only people I look down upon in certain individual people who have no sense of worthiness and no sense of mind, no sense of self. Those only people I look down to, closed-minded people who don't look at everything around them, above them, and by them. That's the only people I look down. Doesn't matter what color your ethnic group, or if you're gay or you're straight or whatever religion you are. If you cool with me, you cool. If you're not, I ain't talking to you. Straight up. But I got a video. It was a show why this behavior is going on, and tell me if this thing ever going to change when it comes to racial relations between, not only between black and white, but between different races, different breeds to everybody, and why people use racial slurs and terms, and what has been changed today to now. Here's the video right here. All right.
Versus cracker. Should one be acceptable while the other is taboo? Well, the comment, it put this conversation front and center, came from a witness at the George Zimmerman trial last week. Rachel Gentile, a friend of Trayvon Martin's, was on the phone with Martin right before he was shot. She testified about how Martin described Zimmerman. Listen.
Creepy-ass cracker?
Yes.
So it was racial, but it was because Trayvon Martin put race in this.
No.
You don't think that's a racial comment?
No.
You don't think that creepy-ass cracker is a racial comment?
No.
Welcome back to our panel now. Wynton Marsalis, Mark Lamont Hill, LeVar Burton, and Tim Wise. Also joining us now, Michael Skolnick. He's the editor-in-chief of GlobalGrind.com, and filmmaker Rochelle Oliver joins us as well. So, Michael, were you surprised at all that Rachel Gentile did not see this as racist, creepy-ass cracker?
No, I wasn't surprised. I think if you look at the word cracker, the word cracker comes from crike, which is Gaelic for loud noise, and was used in the 18th century as the folks who whipped the slaves. The crackers were the guys who whipped the slaves. So I think if you look at the word cracker compared to the N-word, there's a huge difference in that and the use of both of those words. The N-word has done so much damage when used improperly, and the word cracker has not done as much damage. So for a girl like Rachel Gentile, she saw this as a descriptor of a guy who was chasing her friend who ultimately killed her friend.
Yeah, but we got to report, because there are people who will say the same thing about the N-word. It's not that cracker isn't offensive, and it's not that cracker isn't racial, or maybe, well, I won't say racist, but it's certainly racial. It's certainly a racially offensive term. Let's not pretend that it's not. It is. The difference is, and here's the big point for me, is that there's no word that equals the N-word. There's no, that's like the Trump card in spades. That's the big joker. There's nothing that matches it, because black and white aren't the same. They're not opposite sides of the same coin.
So, LeVar, listen, go ahead. Who's talking?
Yeah, I was just going to say, the other difference is, let's say for the sake of argument, that both these men viewed each other through a racial lens. So Zimmerman viewed Trayvon through the lens of a dangerous black young man in a hoodie, and Trayvon viewed him as a white cracker. Regardless, here's the point. To the extent that Trayvon viewed Zimmerman racially, he tried to avoid Zimmerman. Right. To the extent Zimmerman viewed Trayvon racially, he pursued Trayvon. And that's the difference, because if he doesn't do that, we don't know either of these guys' names. Trayvon Martin is not dead, and George Zimmerman is just a wannabe cop who nobody knows. So that's the difference in the words. They have power behind them. One has power and one doesn't.
So, Rochelle, does history matter here?
History matters. I mean, history is what we need to look at. I mean, we heard just a moment ago about the use of the word cracker. That is not even a racial term when you look at the history of it. The cracker was the person who whipped the slaves. And as the cracker whipped the slaves, he would not use their name. He would call them nigger. You know, you did this. You did something wrong. And the crack was just the sound of the whip. And, you didn't have to be white to be a cracker. Blacks were also sometimes used to be crackers. So history does matter. And, if you look at the situation with Trayvon, he should be commended because he actually used the term correctly.
Yeah.
We can't. I mean, use the term correctly, though. I mean, none of us would tell our children to go around calling white people crackers.
Exactly.
None of us would say that cracker is an
point.
appropriate term. I mean, I'm all for saying the N-word is the most offensive term on the planet. I'm with that. But we can have that argument without suggesting somehow that cracker isn't racialized and isn't offensive.
But I think, Mark, I think the problem is that there's a conversation I was listening to Tim before about white people, is we want to say, oh, well, it's equal. There's racism on both sides. No, there isn't. Right? The majority of racism in this country is geared towards people of color. White people are not the subject of racism.
I agree with that. But what I'm saying is we can.
Michael, you can't say that white people aren't the subject.
To the extent that black
people who are racist. There are black people who attack white people.
The damage the history of this country has been to people of color, not to white people. White people have prevailed in the history of this country.
Well, we have to take, let's take a broader view. Okay, there's a whole 100-year body of minstrel music, which the term nigger is used constantly. There's a history of that term, which has just come back through other forms of music, where nigger is always pejorative. And when we look at a word like cracker, black people in general, black Americans, are not interested in being racist towards white people because we're victimized by so many words. I listened to somebody say, I read about nigger. Every other word when I was growing up was nigger. Yeah. All across the board, black or white, nigger this, nigger that. Yeah. But when we take a humanistic view, we say, where do we want our culture? Where do we want our country to go? Let's take the fact that a boy was walking through a neighborhood, and he was shot by a man who the police said, don't mess with this man. Yeah. And these young men all over the country, every movie, every film, every book that portrays black youngsters as predators. And our young kids are so full of fear, and they need that hand and love so bad, but they're seen in such a negative light, and it's reinforced in film and film after.
I want to ask a question because there are African American men on the panel. Have you ever been followed or in a manner similar? Obviously, you're still here. Have you ever been?
Man, I'm probably moving ahead.
I've never been.
Okay, so
I've been followed by black and white people.
LeVar, have you ever been followed?
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is a practice that I engage in every time I am stopped by law enforcement. And I taught this to my son, who is now 33, as part of my duty as a father to ensure that he knows the kind of world in which he's growing up. So when I get stopped by the police, I take my hat off and my sunglasses off. I put them on the passenger side. I roll down my window. I take my hands. I stick them outside the window and on the door of the driver's side, because I want that officer to be as relaxed as he can be when he approaches my vehicle. And I do that because I live in America, and because
Tim, before I go to you, I had a very similar thing. Although I am a little bit more of an uppity, you know what? Because I actually get up. Like, why did you stop me? What did I do? Growing up in Louisiana, people would stop me. My parents did very well. They'd say, "Where'd you get that car, nigger? Whose car is this?" Right? And so, I was coming back from Florida a couple of years ago with someone I was dating who happened to be white, and he said, "I had never had the police deal with me like that." I'm like, "Hello, welcome to my life." You don't understand.
Well,
it doesn't exist to you. It doesn't exist.
That's why I don't like white people to use the N-word.
Right.
Because they never get treated like
what
niggas.
LeVar just
Go ahead,
what LeVar just said is so heavy, and I want white folks who are watching the show to see how heavy it is. Because here I am, I know Wynton's from New Orleans. I lived in New Orleans for 10 years, and I told you this story once on a show before. But back when I was like 23, living in New Orleans, I graduated from Tulane, and one day I locked myself out of my car on Robert Street, and so I'm trying to break into my car with a coat hanger, and a cop comes up, and he sees me doing it, man, and he does not even ask me for ID or proof that that's my car. He actually, literally, the NOPD, you gotta let me finish. The NOPD, and I know Wynton will appreciate this story, the NOPD was like, hey, you're breaking into the car the wrong way. Let me help you. Like the cop was trying to help me break in. Now, there is not a black man in this country, 23 years of old, for whom that would have been the reaction. And I hope people understand how deep what it is. Like LeVar having to put his hands out the window. Like basically what my mom told me was be nice to cops.
Yeah,
she didn't say don't move your hands because you're going to get shot.
Right.
Don't, none of that. Like that is about white privilege. That is about racism. And that is the fundamental difference between the N-word and any other racial term on this planet. That's exactly the point.
Let's get back to the words. Let's get back to the N-word and to cracker. Because, as I was researching this and I saw this clip, I remembered it. I was like, wow, this would never fly today on television. Listen.
Jungle Bunny.
Peck of wood. Birdhead. Cracker.
Spear chucker.
White trash. Jungle bunny. Hunky. Spade. Hunky.
Nigger.
Dead hunky.
Rochelle, should we be censoring sketches like that, things like that on television, or should we be talking about it more?
It's an interesting thing. We talked about context earlier on in the conversation. And, words have power. The N-word has power. And if you don't understand how to use that power, if you don't know the history and the culture that goes into these words, then you will misuse them. And that's what we're seeing, with Paula Deen. She's misusing the word and doesn't really understand how offensive it can be to people, and that's when you run the risk.
The damage.
That's why we shouldn't censor.
The damage.
That's
when
why
the damage is done.
That's why we shouldn't censor it, right? Because, for example, if you're using it for heuristic purposes, if you sit here right now and say nigger as opposed to the N-word, so that people know what Paula Deen said, that matters. There's a value to that. Because what happens is we'll say Paula Deen allegedly used the N-word, or that so-and-so allegedly used the N-word, and people just hear the N-word in the sentence. I want people to viscerally feel nigger because that's what Paula Deen allegedly said. If she said that, I want people to feel that in their bones.
Yeah, you sanitize it when you do that.
Just saying the word.
I've long said that. Go ahead, Rochelle.
I'm sorry. Just saying the word doesn't.
You hear that, folks? But she right about one thing. Saying the words and all that. Words remain power and gives power. You have to use your words wisely, use your words very carefully, because there are a group of people, individual, don't like hearing the truth. Most people. It's the same way like Christ did. It's funny how people say they believe in God. Would you die for God? No, you wouldn't. You rather die reaping benefit of the Benjamins. That Satan's works. Satan's works. That's what you'll do. And I know what I'm talking about. I see this all my life. I had to work 10 times harder. And especially in an African American community household, I have to work 10 times harder. And plus, I can't even get damn laid, for Christ's sakes. I can. But thanks to that, our women said something, and then saying we the only group of men are not allowed being a man. We have to prove out there to take care of our kids. I don't even got kids. But they expect you to take care of somebody else's kids, but you can't get the kids on your own. But if you dating outside your race, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you are a sellout all of a sudden. I never understand that. If that's the case, we need to change the way we think and how we see in the world. Because I'm telling you right now, and because of that, this is why we're in the situation there. Now I see why whites feel the way they do, because they've been too many bad experience behind black. I never forget when I went to that taco place. I was trying to show that guy, that Mexican guy, and I would show that the white guy. Not every blacks think like that. Just like there are white people, Mexican people show everybody, not everybody thinks like that. There are women of color, even white women and black women show not everybody thinks the way and rank the way we act and the way out of thinking on how we act. Not everybody thinks like that. It's just certain individual and the certain places they should be and they shouldn't want to be. That's why people act the way they are. That's why my neighbor act the way he is. Probably had that experience. Or have that hateful. Some people don't got no love in their heart. All they got was feel of remedy of hate. That's all they had. And that kept them going. Me, I have a lot of lovability in my heart. There's ability of love in my heart. I don't got too much hate unless I destroy hate. And love is the only way to destroy it. Fight is the only way to love. When you fight with heart. That's what real men had, and men lost that for the last couple of years. Women, one thing I respect women though. Women have the capacity to be a woman, know what whites to be a woman, to do what a woman do the woman things that women always should be doing in the first place. But women lost that for the couple of years. They have, and because of that, we got race. Even when it comes to racism play. When I was there, and you could tell people have bad experience with another group of people they don't like. You can tell by looking at the eyes and looking at the body reaction and certain reaction of language they had. And I try to show them all of us ain't like that. We're human just like you do. And that's why I try to show my neighbor if he knows it or not. Unless he's a white guy. But I'm gonna tell you, I never forget when I was working at Albertsons. I never forget. When I was saying friend and I was about to use the N-word, and the white guy told me, don't say it around me if you don't want me to say it. And he was an Irishman, and I respect him for that. I just like I respect my other people. We need to know how to act in public when it comes to when incidents would never happen like that. Words remain power. Words remain strong in power. That's why people feel the way they do. That's why these kids acting the way they shouldn't have been acting, and parents as well. They pass it on to their kids. They pass it on. When we're going to look at people as human beings instead of color, it will never be like that. Hopefully one day it will. But right now, it's just not like that. And it's not like that now. It will never be because there's no balance to it to resent life and life itself. It's going to always remain repeatedly the same. And it's sad I have to say this because ever since racism doesn't play that Trayvon Martin case, and both of them not innocent, not the George Zimmerman case, not Trayvon Martin, but the proof of the matter is everybody should have the justice for everybody, even Trayvon Martin's family. And even though it could bring no justice for George Zimmerman, because any other alleged of no victim will apologize for the alleged victim they caused. And you could tell George Zimmerman don't care. And Trayvon Martin, they make it seem like he smoked weed. If that's the case, everybody smoked weed. Even white kids. Everybody smoked weed at some point. Everybody smoke it. When Cheech and Chong came out on TV, I don't hear everybody else complaining about them. A couple of people, but they were just in the shows of comedy. Weed is nothing but a harmful ass drug. It was original American drug before crack, cocaine, and heroin, all the rest of the drugs. Everybody smoked weed, even president, even celebrities. Everybody smoked weed, even me. I even admit it. And there's women smoke it. Only weed can do, it makes you being in a dumb tomb and making relaxation in your mind and in someplace else. That's all weed does. Every other drug is bad. It's bad at the cost of your bodies. Now it's legal to get arrested to smoke weed now, even to selling it. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm telling you. You can go ask them. They can do anything legal over there. I'm telling you. But I'm going to tell you like this, though. But I'm going to tell you. Words remain power, and it keeps remaining power. And the things we got to do, we need to have this conversation more often. For it won't be another race role play like that ever again. We need to start accepting people as human beings. Because if they talk about banning the word, the N-word, they need to ban the word cracker, spick, oriental, terrorists, all the whole nine, queer and all that. They can't ban these words. All they gonna do is they're gonna say it with certain meaning and no meaning, or don't say it at all. And that goes for black or white. And say it with they need to start saying we need to reflect in male and void. We all male and void people. We need to start saying we melt it and blend it in for everybody. But we can't blend in for one another at each other. Hopefully we'll be better people. Hopefully in the future. All right? All right. And it's your boy Domination. This is Back of the Basics. Chuckle the Deuce is how we do it. Texas, baby. Again. The only place we're going to do it. Until next time. All right? All right. Peace. And I'm out.